Hofmann's elimination. Now Hofmann's elimination, it's again the continuation of Hofmann's exhaustive alkylation. In elimination, we know that there will be a formation of alkenes. So we can compare it later on with Saytzeff's elimination as well. Hofmann's elimination. If you take C2H5 and CH3 thrice I, this is ethyl trimethyl ammonium iodide, quaternary ammonium salt. If you treat it with moist Ag2O, now moist Ag2O will give you AgOH. So finally, ethyl trimethyl ammonium iodide, you treat it with AgOH, silver hydroxide. This will result in the formation of, you replace that I minus by OH minus. So finally will give you ethyl trimethyl ammonium hydroxide. Now ethyl trimethyl ammonium hydroxide, that is a quaternary ammonium hydroxide. On strong heating, so we have split up that C2H5 as CH3CH2. Now the carbon atom which carries that nitrogen is called as alpha, and at the beta carbon atom you have elimination of hydrogen atom. So beta pe we have elimination of H, resulting in the formation of an alkene. So this can be written as CH2-H with the loss of on strong heating, finally resulting in the formation of an alkene. So ammonia derivatives are generally better leaving groups. The better leaving groups so can be eliminated as a tertiary amine and an alkene. So this pyrolysis of quaternary ammonium hydroxide to produce alkenes is called as Hofmann's elimination reaction. Now similarly, if we have another example such as sec-butyl. Why sec? Because this unit is unit is attached to that nitrogen atom. So sec-butyl trimethyl ammonium iodide. So sec-butyl trimethyl ammonium iodide, when it is treated with AgOH, that is moist silver oxide, will give you sec-butyl trimethyl ammonium hydroxide. Sec-butyl. Now it should be noted that in Hofmann's elimination, the less sterically hindered or the most acidic beta hydrogen is removed. Let us continue with that example. Now NCH3 thrice is a better leaving group, alpha, and you have a beta carbon atom. Now here in sec-butyl you have two beta carbon atoms, so we can have both the possibilities, resulting in the formation of an alkene. This will result in the formation of if you eliminate from the terminal carbon atom, from beta carbon atom, one of the product would be, you will get minus H2, will result in the formation of 1-butene. Whereas if you eliminate hydrogen from beta dash carbon atom, in that case you will get, again with the loss of H2, will result in the formation of definitely 2-butene. Now whenever you have sec-butyl students, you will have two possibilities, either it will be 1-butene or 2-butene. But generally the deciding factor is what we have learned in Saytzeff's rule is the most substituted alkene as a major product. Whereas it must be noted that in Hofmann's elimination reaction, the more acidic beta hydrogen, or what you call as the less sterically hindered carbon. Now students, here it is a less sterically hindered carbon that will be obtained as a major product. So 1-butene is a major product and 2-butene is a minor product. So in short, according to Hofmann's elimination reaction, it should be learned that the least substituted alkene is obtained as a major product, or it should be the sterically the less sterically hindered the less sterically hindered hydrogen is removed during Hofmann's elimination product or during Hofmann's elimination reaction. So that will be generally obtained as a major product. Similar example, we can also take it as, if you in contrast what we have learned in Saytzeff's elimination reaction. Let us continue with that elimination reaction where we have Hofmann's elimination. Now, Hofmann's elimination rule, in contrast to Saytzeff's elimination reaction, whether it is base catalyzed dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide or acid catalyzed hydration of alcohols. Now here see, if KOH is treated with alcoholic KOH, we know the product is, we have, this is alpha carbon, there are two beta carbon atoms, dissimilar beta carbon atoms. If hydrogen is eliminated from this beta carbon atom, the product would be, definitely you will get what we have is CH3, CH double bond CH and CH3, what you call it as 2-butene, plus if hydrogen is eliminated from this beta carbon atom, the product should be what we call it as we have CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2, we get 1-butene. So in short, whether it is 2-chlorobutane or 2-bromobutane or 2-iodobutane, if you treat it with alcoholic KOH, so generally it is the more substituted alkene that is obtained as a major product. Which is obtained as a major product. So here 2-butene is a major product, as per Saytzeff's rule. SAYTEZEFF, Saytzeff's rule. On the contrary to Hofmann's elimination rule, where 1-butene is obtained as a major product. So Hofmann's elimination rule is against of Saytzeff's elimination rule. Now 1-butene, here it is minor product, whereas in Hofmann's elimination rule 1-butene is a major product. Similarly, if you take 2-butanol, again this is alpha carbon, there are two beta carbon atom, dissimilar beta carbon atom, you treat it with concentrated H2SO4 acid catalyzed dehydration at about 433 Kelvin. We have elimination of water molecule, still you get both the possibilities, 1-butene and 2-butene. You find it as 2-butene as a major product and 1-butene as a minor product. So it is both contrast to Hofmann's elimination rule. So in general, Hofmann's elimination rule can be analyzed as, if you take R4N plus X minus, suppose you started from quaternary ammonium salt, you treat it with AgOH, you get R4N plus and OH minus. We call this as quaternary ammonium hydroxide. Now, quaternary ammonium hydroxide, generally if it is heated with on strong heating, will give you an alkene a tertiary amine along with H2O. Along with H2O. So formation of an alkene generally we get as a less substituted alkane. That is what we call as Hofmann's elimination rule. So from quaternary ammonium hydroxide you get on strong heating will give you an alkene and along with a tertiary amine. Suppose if they ask you example C2H5 4 times N plus and Br minus. This is tetraethyl ammonium bromide. Tetraethyl ammonium bromide is treated with AgOH, moist silver oxide, and the product is C2H5 4 times N plus and OH minus. So we call this as tetraethyl ammonium hydroxide. Tetraethyl ammonium hydroxide on strong heating. Now since all the alkyl groups are same, we don't have any issues. One of the alkyl, that is C2H5, will give you an alkene. So you get CH2 double bond CH2, that is ethene as one of the product. Plus there are 3 ethyl groups that are left out, that will be resulting in the formation of a tertiary alkane. So it will give you C2H5 thrice N along with H2O. So generalized would be you will get an alkene, tertiary amine and elimination of water molecule. So here it should be triethylamine. Now student, there is an exceptional case also. Okay, suppose you take the second example. If I substitute CH3 4 times N plus and OH minus, we call this as tetramethyl ammonium hydroxide. On strong heating. Definitely one of the product would be an alkene, or tertiary amine. So you will get trimethylamine, CH3 thrice N, but left out is only one methyl group. So it must be noted that if all the alkyl groups in quaternary ammonium hydroxide are methyl groups, that is tetramethyl ammonium hydroxide, then pyrolysis does not produce an alkene. Instead, it will give you trimethylamine plus one of the alkyl that is left out, that is methyl, will result in the formation of an alcohol. So it will give you trimethylamine and methanol. So there is an exceptional cases. I'll just write down this as a note part. So suppose all the alkyl groups are methyl, then one of the product is methanol along with tertiary amine. Next.